hell, man, what did we do with the September? September '82? Yeah. When we opened?
Then you want to show me the Deadbeat Club, which used to be the Rathskelter, the name of it. I said, what is this? I'm gonna buy this. I said, what? Your mother is waiting for the diploma.
Yeah. During the day, I mean, literally if I put my finger on the, slide it across the roof, because you smoked back then, it would, I mean, it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Shithole. Toilets leaking, throw up all over the place, beer on the floor, you know, plastic cups. But it was an institution for a different time.
I think it was it was the best club in Colorado for a number of years.
Well, it was magical in a lot of ways. It was, it's hard to describe because on the one hand it was so packed that it was just an experience, and everyone who was of the demographic worth, you know, going out at the time would know the Deadbeat Club.
Peter Elsie in the DJ booth. Yeah, Lee, Freddie, Darren, all the guys. Paul, down in the basement with their mohawks and their leather jackets and their combat boots with some 9-inch nails.
But the difference was, what I'm saying is back then, it was about being at the place where everybody else wanted to be.
It was fantastic. You heard amazing music, 2 different kinds, on 2 different floors. Then they expanded to a patio, and then they expanded the patio and made that bigger. And it was just this, it describes, I actually don't really have great words for it because it was just a magical place.
But Deadbeat was the beginning of the empire.
And every week it would just be 2 to 20, 30. It was just one night out of the blue, like 2,000 people, let's say, sitting in a line from the door, up the parking lot, down the alley, you know, waiting to get in for 50-cent beers or quarter beers. Back then, you can never make it with those prices these days. And, you did it.
When we opened up the 1082, the back behind the speakers where everybody stand on stage was literally bars and 2 plywood that closed. And it was like, you know, the heater up in the ceiling. And people would come in and everyone's in their coats and they're standing there waiting on Tuesday nights. And sitting in front of the heater, you know, so they could keep warm until enough people, because we do 2,000-3,000 people. So then the body heat made it hot. And then we opened up the doors and the air would cool off the club.
Yeah, I came out here on, my brother went to DU for pharmacy school. I came out here to visit him, and I came to church and vinyl And my brother was, at one point in time asked me to move out here. When I went to vinyl, I was like, I wonder if I'm going to move out here, I'm going to work in this place.
Yes. I remember actually in '94, Regas moved me over here from 1082. And he's like, I want to show you something. So we're walking over here, we're going past the doors on Lincoln side. And he stops, and I kept on walking for a few steps, and I stopped. And I look back, and he's opening up the door, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, you have Tiesto, Armin, Van Buren, Paul DeFold, it's just like the list goes on. And they continue to come here to play, after all these years. So, I mean, this has been, epicenter of dance music for the world. And, it's a market that everybody wants to come and play, and everybody knows about the church.
The way that we organized it was switching the nights. We kind of had a lineup where, you knew Friday night was going to be Latin night at Vinyl, or you knew Saturday night was going to be house music. But at the same time, Saturday night's house music on the main floor, but you can go upstairs to the rooftop on the second floor and have hip hop going on. And then you can have drum and bass and dubstep down in the basement with a separate entrance. But across the street you have, indie night going on, or goth night over at Bar Standard. And over here, we flip-flop Fridays and Saturdays for Latin nights and house music. And it just worked really well for us, for sure.
And it is like a machine. At our best, we operated at a high level, and I'm extremely proud of that, because that takes a team of people who are constantly honing in on those skills and figuring out a way to reach the necessary people who would appreciate what we're trying to put on.
The crowd there is just amazing. They come early. You have a line at the door before you open. They all know your name. I know all their names. A lot of them come, in costumes or dressed differently. They're very respectful. It's the music and the vibe and the scene too. It's not aggressive. You have like a goth style nature in a couple rooms. You have new stuff, which is like the synthwave movement that's been going on. Then you have like 80s, and then you have like parties like Lip Gloss that have been, we didn't have our party. I remember we did like MGMT at Bar Standard for our 18th anniversary of Lip Gloss. What is it, 20 years now? That's the longest indie dance party in the United States, and we have it every Friday night at Milk Bar. It's just kind of cool.
It really has the feeling of a family, and I think because of that, everybody is really motivated every day when they show up to work to do their best and make sure we keep this reputation of being Denver's nightclub district.
It's amazing to have a club that lasts 20 years, this long. There's not many clubs. This might be the longest running nightclub in the country, or one of them. You see things, in New York pop up, and after a decade they go. But it's like, but he stays on top of it because he's ahead of the trend. He's got good people working for him.
Welcome to 2020. Welcome to the year 2020. Have a happy new year.
I mean, right now, this is the only time that you can't do what you doing for all these years. You're on a forced break, but you can't do anything. I feel helpless. Like
I think that everyone has their own way of blowing off steam, and there's a pretty good chunk of people that blow off steam by partying, and there's always going to be a place for parties to happen, and I think nightclubs can really be a safe place. Like if they're run correctly, like these ones are, it can really be an important safe space for parties to happen.
Why 2020 has been such a hard blow, because closing down the clubs is just not something that was even fathomable. But again, obviously it's for a very good reason, but
yes, of course. Dude, you gotta get out there, there's a different feeling. I mean, you can't replicate it anywhere else. You can't replicate it at your house or anything like that, no matter what kind of good sound system you have. Being social is a part of the human factor. I mean, if you take this kind of stuff away, live music, whether it be DJs or bands or whatever, or different experiences, you meet people at the bars or the clubs that become like your friends away from friends, family away from family and stuff. I mean, we've got people that come to Milk Bar that have been consistently coming to Milk Bar for a decade now, like every Saturday night, and it's a group of like 50 to 100 people that are just, they love what we're doing.
Yeah, I would say clubs are a necessity, just because for me, music's like one of the driving forces in my life. It's my biggest passion, and so much of that is the live aspect of it. Like, you just experience music so much deeper when you're sharing it with other people and you're all dancing together and feeling each other's energy, and clubs provide space for that. So I know for me personally, I would absolutely say they're a necessity. Just something that brings people joy and brings people together and gives them a sense of community. I'd say that's absolutely necessary to everyone.
I wish I could say we'd give them 40 more. I'm creeping up on my milestone next week. Told you today. Be 50 fucking years old.
Would you do it again? 100% I would do it again. I recently just did it again for Regas during this whole COVID thing. We started the Lincoln lots, and I had to put together a whole new business, all the functionality and everything about it. I had to pretty much start a whole new business for them. It was tough, and then I was doing both, just trying to and dealing with all these guidelines and stuff. And it was an experience. But most definitely, I would definitely do it again for sure.
Yeah, there's times where it's work. You know, it feels like work. You know, we have these really gigantic private event parties where you gotta study up and figure out exactly what you have to do, because it's got to be, you know, by the book, and everything's got to be crossed off, and you know. But other times it's just a more natural thing. You know, it's like I can't explain it.
It's the journey more than the destination, and I've learned that. You know, just we're here for the reason why we're here is because of the love of the industry, love of music, love of having a good time, getting together, and you know, sharing that experience with one another, hopefully, and you know, coming together as one big happy family.
It's silly to have tears thinking about a party, but it's you know, it's your experiences in life are what make you who you are. They teach you resilience through hard times, and to all the people that sort of kicked my butt and me into shape when I didn't know better, or I wasn't looking at things the right way. I thank them for all the people who lent me their ear when I needed to talk, to all the people who listened to me when I was trying to kick their butts and get them into gear. I thank them for listening. I'm just really proud to be able to work in this industry, but not just this industry, to work for SoCo, because it is a family of people who don't always agree, but bring so much to the table. And to our customers, I hope you're doing well. You know, it might sound trite to talk about a nightclub in the middle of a pandemic, but it's almost the perfect analogy to what we're dealing with. You step aside from everything that was going on, from the craziness of life, and you're forced to slow down, to be cautious, which is the antithesis of what, you know, a raucous nightclub is. But it really does make you take stock. And, you know, if the roaring 20s are coming back again, then we're going to be a part of that. And I look forward to that day.
I wish I had written things down. I wish that I had written down my experiences, because unfortunately I've forgotten a lot of stuff now.
What we built as a group, as a family, it can never be done by anybody else like that anymore. It doesn't happen like that. You know, it can never be duplicated.
Why is that?
I don't think anybody's got the balls to do it like we did it. Well, my uncle, you know, a lot of it